Hi, I'm Michelle Sitlow, and I am your sixth graders homeroom teacher. I'm going to go through some slides and explain to you a little bit of the logistics of sixth grade year. So, welcome to St. Pat's. The teachers your student will see is Mrs. Hartnett. She teaches the sixth grade science and social studies. Mrs. Lohr sees your student for math. And along with being their homeroom teacher, I see your child for language arts and literature. The specialists that they see throughout the week are Miss Pieper. She sees sixth grade for religion and then also art class. Mr. Desjardins, known as Mr. D, will see the kids for PE and health. Mrs. Naughton is their music teacher, and Mrs. McGrady is their Spanish teacher. Here are a few things that are not unique to this school year, but I'd like to touch on them. If your child is absent, the office does require a written or a verbal excuse from the parent. And if there are vacations planned, doctor's appointments, etc., advance notice would be greatly appreciated if possible for teachers' planning purposes. And if at all possible, it would be appreciated if you could email the three of us and just let us know of those upcoming events that your child will be missing school for. New this year, the students are asked or given the window of arrival between 8:20 and 8:40. They will enter through the north end of the building. There's a door on the middle school end. They are required to wear masks upon coming into the building and being socially distanced. For class seating, we have a seating chart that the 5-6 team uses. So your student is always in the near vicinity in each classroom of people that they also sit by in the lunchroom. Between classes, we do sanitize the tables and are doing our best to keep a sanitized area. This year, mainly, we are trying to stick to digital paperwork. With some of my classes, I do require actual paper and pencil because I want to see their writing. Departure is 3:25. The walkers leave through the same door they entered on the north side of the building, and bus children are released to the back playground at 3:30. Within the last week, we have started our early releases on Wednesdays, and those are at 1:30. Technology. We have one-to-one devices for 5-6, and those are Chromebooks. Your child also has a cord for their Chromebook that should travel to and from school with them. It would be greatly appreciated if your child gets into the habit of charging their Chromebook nightly. Assignments are posted on Google Classroom nightly, and online textbooks are available to your child, so books will not be coming home this year. We also have a platform for parent communication through Sycamore. Your child has been taught how to check their grades on Sycamore and if they have missing assignments. To properly use and turn in or receive assignments, you will need an internet connection at home. Distance learning expectations. We all hope that we can stay in school as long as possible. We do have some distance learners currently, but should we go to closure, these are our expectations, and we have been working with the students since day one of the school year to ensure that they know what to do. Here's what we are asking. Have adequate supplies at home, lined paper, pencils, pens, a calculator, scissors, rulers, colored pencils or crayons. Please, we are asking this of your student to, when they join class, be sitting at a desk or a table ready to learn and in a uniform top. As mentioned in an earlier slide, you will need to have a solid internet connection, and we are asking students to participate in Google Meets with classes at the scheduled time. Each student does have a paper copy of their schedule so they know when a class is taking place. Our Wednesday schedule is slightly different, but that is noted on their paper copy. Sixth grade religion is taught by Miss Pieper. She uses Google Classroom to communicate with the students. Homework, she is giving a generalization, should be about 10 to 15 minutes nightly, and she will communicate with parents and students via email and Sycamore. There was a paper copy of her syllabus distributed to the students at the beginning of the year, so hopefully that came home for you to see. I also believe that can be accessed online. The two classes that I have your child for are language arts and literature. This encompasses a lot. So we use sit and spelling, and what I am trying to ensure is that your child has a solid understanding of different spelling patterns and the many rules that encompass our English language. We are asking for proper spelling in daily assignments, even though we have the technology at our disposal that'll autocorrect for us. It is still vitally important for your child to know when to double check a word and present their work properly. Handwriting is something that I touch on weekly. Basically, I am helping the kids get their strokes correct, and we do specific assignments in handwriting cursive so that that skill is not lost. Grammar is a big thing in sixth grade. We are going over the rules of grammar, the different parts of speech, and the many, many rules that our English language contains. Writing is something your child will do every day. It might be for an assignment, it might be a writing prompt given to them by me, or your child might have a chance to just do free writing in their composition notebook. A part of our language arts class too is being able to communicate via speeches or demonstrations in front of the classroom. This happens probably 3 to 4 times throughout the year, and it's a really good opportunity to give the students a chance to speak in front of an understanding group of their peers whom they know well. The final thing I'd like to speak about is reading, and my big push for this school year is the comprehension piece. It's easy to read something simply to read it, but what we want to ensure is comprehension along the way. We also do practice proper ways to answer comprehension questions by recycling the question and basically giving the person maybe who hasn't read the book an opportunity to learn about the book through our answers. Coming up soon, you'll hear from the other teachers in the 516.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Hartnett. I am the sixth grade science teacher. And in sixth grade science, we learn about physical science. So matter, physical and chemical properties, forces in motion, energy, and we'll talk a little bit about renewable resources as well. We spend about half the year talking about physics, just basic introductory physics. Actually, that's the second half of the year. The first half of the year is chemistry, basic introductory chemistry and ideas and terminology, things like that. They'll get hit hard with this in high school. So it's a good introduction to it. Hopefully they get to the high school and they can at least say, oh yeah, I heard that before. So we work hard on that. It builds as we go. I tell them you learn something in chapter 2 and you're going to hear that terminology again and again and again as we go through the chapter. So it's not like last year where we maybe learned something and then we go to a completely new topic. It builds as we go along. So about half the year is chemistry, pre-chemistry, half the year is physics. We end the year with hopefully with our Rube Goldberg competition, where the students will be able to work in teams and create a Rube Goldberg challenge for the science fair at the end of the year. So if all goes well this year, we'll get to that point in our curriculum this year too. There are quite a few labs in science. It's important to be here. It's very hard to make that up. Things get set up for the day, or there's, you need a partner for the day or something. So it's important to be here for those labs. We are being very safe as with the labs that we're doing, as far as not safe as far as like we're not using chemicals that might not be safe, but we're being safe as far as this year with our cleanliness and our distancing and all of that. We're trying to be very safe with labs as well. So a couple of the labs, they had to share some things, and I either wiped things down in between so kids could come over, use things for a few minutes, and then after they left, I said, it's just like Target. I will wipe everything down, and then the next person can step up and use the same equipment. Either that, or we did a lab where they all wear gloves as well. So another way to keep us all clean. For those that are virtual learning, there have been a few labs where I've suggested some at-home items where they can recreate the lab at home, or they can watch us here and get at least the idea of what we're doing, if not the exact experience of what we're doing as we complete these labs too. There's lots of vocabulary in science. I do use Quizlet to create flashcards, so they have that as a resource. And I start those flashcards when we start the unit, and then I just keep adding to it as we keep adding our vocabulary. They need to check in with that. I would recommend daily, just go through it. Takes not even 5 minutes maybe to go through the flashcards and just keep practicing that terminology as we go. There's quite a bit of math in science this year because it is chemistry and physics based. So I ask that they have a good calculator, nothing fancy, just a basic calculator that they can use. I'm not asking them to do the math, like show me the math, but they do need to be able to show how they're using formulas, what numbers they're using, but then they can use the calculator to actually do the work for me. All right. Social studies, I also teach 6th grade social studies. And in 6th grade social studies, we're all about ancient civilizations. So we started out with ancient early man, early humans. Right now we're working our way through ancient Mesopotamia. We'll move into parts of ancient Africa, and then India, China, Greece, Rome is at the end of the year. Egypt is in there too. So we learn about all these ancient civilizations, how culture has grown since these ancient times, things that we have inherited from these ancient times, things we still use today, different types of governments that were in place, conflicts that were in place, how some things have changed from those times and how some things have stayed the same. We do lots of timelines because a lot of times we're studying a civilization that was at a certain time period, but at that same time period, there was another civilization going on at the same time. So I like for them to be able to see how these civilizations were developing at the same time, but in very different parts of the world. We do lots of projects. I don't do a lot of tests because I really feel like these projects, if it's a research project or something that they create to show me what they've learned, I really feel like that's a good way for them to show me what they've learned, to tell me about something that they have heard about, and then they went a step further and learned even more about it and put it together either in a presentation or maybe a research paper that we do. So some tests, but I don't put a lot of weight on those. More weight is put on the projects that we do. The textbook for the social studies and for science have both been scanned in and can be found online. I've been posting them in classroom chapter by chapter, so they don't have one huge textbook to find the pages for. So I'm just putting each chapter out as we go along. They do have a paper copy in school, of course. So they have the physical textbook in school, but then all the pages have been scanned in online for them.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Lohr. I am your sixth graders math teacher. This year they will be working from a textbook. Yay! I know some of them were excited. We use course 1 from the publishing company McGraw-Hill, and we have been starting the year with reviewing multiplication and division with decimals. We are just moving into our fraction unit, and then we will be heading into working with some integers, algebraic equations, ratios, and then eventually kind of rounding off the year with geometry and formulas at the end. Some years we even get a little bit more probability and some of those other data analysis and collection review in there as well. Each student has a yellow composition notebook that they leave here at school. We use that as our math journal again this year, filling in notes and sample problems and items to kind of help them work through the problems they have to do. I have made a digital version of this math journal on their Google Classroom so they can access it there. Their online textbook is also copied and accessible on their Google Classroom. So their hardcover textbook stays at school, and their online one is on their Google Classroom so they can access it and see the pages there. And usually I do it chapter by chapter. So right now we're in chapter 2, so they have chapter 1 and chapter 2 available online to look at. Lastly, their homework that we do either in class or sometimes there is some digital homework that is assigned as well to do at home, is about 40% of their grade. So now we're kind of making the shift to the emphasis on a little bit more of their grade is focused on their test scores. So that's 60% of their grade. Homework is the practice to help them prepare and be prepared for their tests. So homework is still just as important, but we're starting to kind of transition them into some of those older grades where homework is often graded less and just there to be as practice. Kind of leading into that homework, students fill in their assignment notebook at the end of each class that they're in. And at the end of the day, time is spent in their homeroom reviewing, what did you have for homework? Have you filled in your assignment notebook? Those kinds of things. The assignment notebook is the first place for students to look. The next place to go look is Sycamore. All of the homework assignments are listed as to what they need to complete on Sycamore. Often their homework assignment is a digital version of maybe a worksheet or an activity. And so if there is a digital work to complete, they would go to Google Classroom to find their assignments. But it is listed in their assignment notebook. It is listed on Sycamore, but the actual work for them to do, they can find that in their subject in Google Classroom. And then also on Sycamore, the gradebook is open online so that you can view their grades and how they're doing with their work if they're missing anything. Students can also view their grades. They were given their own login, not the family login, so they can see just their assignments and just their grades. That way they're learning to be a little bit more responsible and take the initiative to check to see what they have to do. Our last item here is snack. We have lunch really early this year. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we eat at 11. And on Wednesday, we are eating at 10:30. So we are not doing a morning snack to tide them over to make it to lunchtime. This year, we are putting snack at the end of the day, homeroom, if they are feeling hungry because they had lunch so early. They've got a long bus ride home, they have activities after school, or they're going somewhere else. That is a good time to stop and have a healthy snack. We are asking that is a single serve item. They can bring fresh fruit, fresh veggies, granola bar, beef jerky, something kind of quick. Some of those refrigerator items are a little bit harder to keep cool all day long, but really we want it individually wrapped, something quick to grab, just a little bit to tide them over until they make it to dinner at home with you. We are asking for no large boxes of snack. We want it in a container or a Ziploc baggie so that it is ready to go for them. We have had issues with little critters in the building, and we don't want to encourage any more little critters coming than already would maybe visit. And then our very last slide here is just our contact information should you need to get a hold of us. Again, if there's something that you need to talk to us individually about a specific subject, email that teacher, reach out to them. If there's something that maybe would involve being aware for all of us as we all see your children each day, we highly recommend that you email the 3 core teachers, Mrs. Hartnett, Mrs. Lohr, myself, and Mrs. Sitlow. Our phone numbers and our extensions are listed there. The phone number is the school phone number. We really encourage you to call the office if it's something immediate that we need to, that your child needs to know about or that we need to know about. Otherwise, send an email. We will get back to you as soon as we can. We have also listed the specialist teachers there as well if you need to ask them a specific question on the classes that they teach. So feel free if you've got any questions to reach out to us. Hope this information helps. Thank you.